We at the Africa Innovation Summit are essentially trying to promote an open platform in Africa where we can begin to engage our stakeholders inside and outside on how to promote innovation, to begin to engage policymakers and institutions on the continent and outside. With respect to the upcoming Africa Innovation Summit, we have a series of partnerships, including NEPAD, Luxembourg, the government of Rwanda, and EU is one of the last to come on board last week. We are working with the EU to have two events, special events in Kigali. There will be an EU-Africa Partnership Program on the first day, which will bring together African experts and EU experts to look at the collaboration arrangement so far and the support that EU is providing to the African Union and African scientists and experts around the continent. The second program, which you mentioned, the Horizon 2020 program, is a new program which has been developed in the EU. Part of this is supposed to promote partnerships and collaboration between the EU and the African countries. And so the workshop is an all-day workshop, actually to train participants on how to access partnership, funding, and collaborative programs with European counterparts in Europe.
Right now, this is the biggest research and innovation program, 80 billion of funding available until 2020, but this has been the case from 2014. Yes. What have you noted over the time? Are we seeing this actually going to play into a sustainable ecosystem, or is it something that will need more piloting even after 2020?
I think the key at this stage is for African scientists and African institutions to get to know about this program, to get to learn about the program, to see how we can better use the program for our own interest on the continent. A lot of partners develop programs from their own perspective to support countries. But more importantly, at this stage now on the continent, and why we are promoting this workshop, is for African stakeholders to engage with the EU counterparts to begin to learn more about this program and to see how we can actually support them to improve the program itself and to see how we can better use it for our own development. I think there are opportunities. As you mentioned, it's a big amount. African institutions and especially African academics and institutions can participate in the workshop in Kigali and use the opportunity to learn about the program and to see how they can better collaborate and access some of this financing from the European Union.
Right, let's talk about this. You're promoting innovation in Africa. It's not the first, and we also have other bodies that are having conversations on hunger, water scarcity, climate change. In the African context, of course, this is way wide. You need to narrow it down for us. Who do you go to for accountability purposes? This has been known to go well within the cracks, financial leakages. We know all about this. Accountability from your point of view, how do you handle that?
Well, issue of accountability at this stage, what we are trying to do is get actors and stakeholders together to begin to see how we can build a platform, a collaborative platform on the continent to engage people and to engage policymakers to begin to do what we need to do with respect to building ecosystems that are robust for innovation on the continent. The issue of accountability is a challenging task. It's for all of us to be engaged in this. For African governments and African partners to be engaged on the issue of ensuring that public resources and funds are used wisely. We are a small entity, more like an NGO with friends around the continent that we work with. Resources that we get are spent directly on the program that we're supposed to be spent on, and we have no issue with accountability on our side. And we are not in the process of giving money to any institutions or any organization on the continent. So we ourselves, we essentially partner with people to finance some key activities which are linked to our program, which is to promote innovation on the continent and promote a policy environment that is conducive to entrepreneurs and to innovators and to academics who are doing research and some of the public research institutions on the continent. So we can begin to ensure that we make science, technology, and innovation as foundation for our development and transformation over the longer term.
Right. Now, when we talk about innovation, of course, this has been a repetitive concern over the last couple of years. We've tried to push an innovation agenda from an international point of view. But if we say that we are pushing an African innovation agenda, we also look like we're not shooting the stars. So we need to strike a balance between what is achievable on ground, our structural abilities, and what is actually maintained to keep up with global trends. Give us your perspective.
The key is that we are the Africa Innovation Summit, we are agnostic. First and foremost, we think innovation must help the people on the continent. Innovation must be used to address some of the basic challenges that we face on the continent. How do we get food? How do we get water? Access to energy. It is a bit a shame at this stage that after 60 years of independence, only 20 or 30% of our population have access to energy. So how do we address this? The issues of health. And not just only from technological perspective, but also from policy angle, innovation with respect to institutional arrangements. So how do we address these issues of key concern to us within the Innovation Summit program? But at the same time, yes, we need to deal with the problems of today. We also have to begin to imagine tomorrow, also have to think about what the future could bring, and how could we be an active participant in this process. So our platform is technology agnostic, is thematic issues agnostic, and we tend to encourage innovation and innovative thinking in different areas. Whether you want to go to the moon or you want to go to Mars, or whether you want to develop the next better cook stove to ensure that women do not have to go kilometers to go and fetch firewood for cooking and thereby destroying the environment. So we are our interest essentially is to ensure that we are able to build the institutional environment on the continent, the policy environment on the continent that is propitious for innovation, whether it's low tech, high tech, or middle tech.